flaws and all. Womanhood, sisterhood, and traveling through the worst hood. Adulthood. Conversation from a woman's point of view. This is the S.I.S Podcast.
Hey, sis.
Hey, sis.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of Simply Incredible Sistahs. Now, today we're going to be talking about parenting. Now, we know that parenting is very controversial. You know, there are ways that people feel like you should parent, and there are ways that you know you want to parent. Okay. So today we're going to get down to the nitty and the gritty, hear from our sisters, and find out how they parent at home, and probably even get y'all feedback for everyone who's listening. If y'all can tell us, how do y'all parent when you're at home? Or what's your intention for parenting when you do become a mom? Okay, so I am your host, Fee.
Hey, it's your girl, Queez.
It's your girl, Quell.
And it's your girl, Jenny.
All right, so y'all, we're going to get popping off the right way. So first and foremost, when it comes down to parenting, I know y'all parents raised y'all a certain way. So let's start with that. What is one thing that you feel like your parent did that just stuck with you and you a stickler for it nowadays?
Well, my parents, they are like the realest people you ever knew. So I couldn't help but to be a realist when it came to parents. And like my mom, when I was younger, of course, she wasn't like, oh, you can come and talk to me about everything.
Right.
And, you know, but as I got older, I realized what she was doing. I didn't know it. Of course, I was a child. And I'm like, she's being so hard on me. But now I understand why she did those things. But the biggest thing for me was her always not being so shocked when I brought her stuff. Like I would think, oh my gosh, I cannot tell her that she's gonna flip.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, okay, so let's talk about it. Like how we gonna get through this? Like, you know, because she was always like, it ain't nothing you could tell me that I ain't heard before. Ain't nothing new under the sun. It's her favorite phrase. Right. And she just like, you can't say nothing to shock me. I done heard it all. And I'm like, please, I'll bet it shock you or whatever. But I could never do it. But yeah, like my mom, she definitely showed me how to be just like more of a conversationalist when it came to my child. And so I took that and put that into what I do. I just did it early on instead of waiting until I got an adult and could talk about what you were doing and actively knowing what you were doing. Now I can do it in real time with my children now. So yeah, I love my parents. They
Please, that's so good. What about you, Quell?
My mom was a teenage parent, so my mom had me really young. So we kind of had a friendship. Like sometimes I wouldn't know when it'll switch. I'll be saying girl too much, and she'll be like, oh, that's enough on a girl. That's enough on a girl.
I ain't one of your little friends.
So for me, it's kind of like the same. She always was open and always wanted to educate me like on everything, especially on like sex and stuff like that as I was getting into this kind of stuff like that. So with my son, with me being an educator and an early childhood educator, I'm big on developmental milestones.
Yeah.
So for me, like things that other people may think is kind of like him being defiant or him trying to talk back, I'm like, well, he's really curious and asking questions because he want to know, you know.
Lord, which we gonna get into that gentle parenting.
I'm gentle, but at the same time, you know, enough is enough.
I'll be in that ass.
I do. So I like him asking the questions. I like being open. He's only 4, so I like him asking the questions and stuff like that. We could talk about anything, play about anything, but then I see my mom come up a little bit. You too much on the girl, whatever. You know, he always called me mom, but I know I'd be like, all right now.
Yeah, right. All right, Jenny, and what about for you? Like, what was that one thing that, you know, that stuck with you that your mom did to raise you and it just kind of stuck?
I don't know if there's anything that my mom did to raise me, but I think it's honestly really my dad.
Okay. Well, mom or dad.
It's the cleanliness thing.
Oh, okay.
It is like,
yes, and
when I say I have passed it on to my son, like, and I be on that ass.
Right.
Like, Imam, what you supposed to do with your plate? Ooh, it gotta go in the sink. He be in there. What you supposed to close the door? He'd come up. No, you're supposed to close that door. Like, like if I'm not here, even at 3, he be telling people the rules. When the cleaners come in and they came in with their shoes on, he'd be like, no shoes in the house.
Right.
No shoes in the house.
Right. That's why your carpet is so clean. No wonder.
You know, and so when I saw him do that, I was like, this boy really be paying attention.
It's still.
They listening now. Yeah. You think they're not listening. They listen.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's so crazy because I'll ask you guys that because a lot of times parents think that what they do that it goes through one ear and out the other. Yeah. But we clearly see that there are some things that our parents did that kind of stuck with us, and we're doing similar things to our children. Now, I'm going to go right into maybe something that you didn't like that your parent did, and you said you would never do, but you ended up doing anyway. I'm going to start this one off first. That whole remote thing, listen, Linda, that come grab me the remote or come turn this light on.
Come get this remote.
Baby.
Hey.
Listen, I just knew.
You my runner. Go get my shit.
Exactly. And even down to the cleaning the dishes, like I was just like, oh, when I become a mom, I swear I'm not going to be doing this. Child. I ain't washed a dish in 21 years because Janaya bit. Well, I'll give it a little less than that. But baby, the moment that she can put them stuff together, she was on dish patrol. You know, and I just find myself doing those small things that I just knew I hated my mama for doing.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
So I want to know from you guys, what were some things that as a child growing up, you was just like, oh, I'm never going to have my kids do this, or I'm never going to do this to my child. And you found yourself doing it.
No, you didn't hit it. You didn't already said it. It's the chores. Like, who wants to do the chores?
Right.
Like, they tell them, it was the really, she would always be a stickler of, get off the floor. It was always something on the floor. Get off the floor. Like, why you didn't pick it up? You don't see that. How you been in this room this whole time and you didn't see that on the floor? You done walked past it several times and you ain't pick it up. And I'm like, how you see that? You saw it with your mama eyes. Right. I didn't see that. I've been here the whole time. And that piece of paper just came out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere. And then full circle, I'm in my kids' room. Get that paper off the floor. Get that off the floor. Well, get that. Why? How you in the room the whole time? And you ain't see that. No. You open the juice box, took the straw off, hit the floor, and you ain't get the straw paper.
Oh, I see y'all. This a little sensitive. This sounds like a little.
No, because when I say that's the type of that like really like get my OCD like up in arms. Like why?
Yeah.
But you know, I know it's because his daddy. He watches daddy.
That's what it is.
I promise you. Because I be looking at my husband like, don't even.
But they a kid too. You got when you have two kids in the house, now. You got a daddy that's a kid too. I ain't trying to bash. You know, I love my husband. I love my husband. But they just messy. You cleaned up behind. But see, that's the thing. I'm only obligated to clean up behind him. Y'all little monsters need to get y'all stuff.
I'm only clean up behind him.
Right. Because I signed up to do life with him.
Right.
Yeah. But you know, but you gonna pick
I gotta
up.
remind myself of that before I be clicking out because I really be like, I come down and I be like,
Yeah.
I try to intentionally leave the stuff there because I want to see if you
that is not good to do a testing.
Listen,
because they not gonna get it, Linda. They don't get it.
So for my own sanity, I literally just come and he babe, go to sleep. How?
I can't go
in the house dirty. Do you not see this?
But what you're doing is what they don't understand, and what I had to understand when I got older is that we're building foundational things. Once you come out of the womb, you're teaching your child how to live without you.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, if I don't get you to understand this while I'm here, when I leave, you're gonna be a messy child, a messy adult.
Oh, child, listen, I already lost hope for my oldest son because I don't think he get it. I mean, he just applied for a job the other day. And I was just like, I wouldn't hire you. Like, I wouldn't hire you. Grease on the application. You scratched out your first name. I'm like, how you mess your first name up? I don't understand. He got the job. That was the crazy part. That's how America is desperate, people.
It's hard out here. They're trying to look.
Status are low.
They're trying to keep somebody.
They're real low.
Yeah.
So I can say that I'm trying to do my best with instilling like some of the best things. Because of course we're responsible for human beings.
Right.
Your children are a reflection of you.
Exactly.
So mannerism, all that type of stuff. When you guys are dealing with that, what's like the most important thing for you to get through to your child? Like for me and my children, it was, we are not liars. Like I remember constantly telling my son, you know, growing up, like, we don't lie. We don't tell lies. I don't care how mad you think I'm gonna be. I need you to always tell me the truth and we can deal with the truth. But what I can't deal with is a lie.
Yeah.
You know, and I've just always been a stickler for that. So that part, I think that's what I'm trying to like really instill in my children. But what's like that important value that you want to take away, you want your children to take away from your parenting?
Oh,
respect.
For me, it would be like right from wrong, even when somebody is, because remember, he's 4, even when somebody else is doing something wrong, teaching him to always be a leader.
Yeah.
Because if somebody else is, let's say somebody else twirling in the floor or whatever, I'm like, you don't twirl in the floor, they get in trouble. He like, oh, okay, I could go in the corner too. No, you stay on the carpet and learn.
Yeah.
But how do you go about... Like, how do you go about nurturing that part of him being a leader? Because, of course, like, with my son, he knows right from wrong. My baby read the Bible every morning, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. And does it on his own. Like, he knows to give God his first fruit.
Yeah.
Before he does anything else, before he brushes his teeth.
I love it.
Like, he gives God the first fruit. You know, but then he'll go to school and act a monkey. It's like he got an angel on one side, the devil on another. And I know that it's heavy to, like, try to carry across at the age of 9.
Yeah.
You know, and to do everything correctly.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, what do we do as parents to really teach them, like, hey, even though this person may be doing this, because that was his argument. Well, they got up and they did such and such, but she only yelled at me. Where do you go from there?
For me, it would be asking him first to make sure that he understands that it wasn't right. And he's like, I knew Ma. And then it's like, okay, so why did you do it anyway? And then it's having that conversation about the why he did it anyway with the consequences, because these are the consequences of these actions.
Yeah.
And then it's just
Regardless
being repetitive.
of the reasoning.
Yes. And
There
then
are
it's
still
just been
consequences
there
for that.
every
Okay,
time with every decision that you make.
Yeah.
So now it's just about just being repetitive with it. Like, because to me, the hooping and the hollering,
Yeah, that's
don't work.
over with.
like they're growing. They're growing. So like you said, he's 9.
Yeah.
It's stuff that he just got, it's just he got to scratch.
Yeah.
And when they done, you know when they done. Because this stuff that he's doing now that he has overcome from first grade, he's overcome from. So you see the growth. You see the growth. So we just got to get through this stage, this grade level, and the next one.
I definitely do that with my son, because I noticed that he is like, loves his big cousin, you know, and he's like, and his older cousin is 4 years older than him,
right,
or 5 years older than him,
right,
and so he want to do everything that he
does,
and I'm just like, and so I constantly have to tell him and read over and over and over again, like, first and foremost, you're a leader, not a follower.
That part,
and you know mommy and daddy's rules,
right,
and so I don't care if you at Mimi's house. I don't care if you at Titi house. I don't care if you at Deepa house.
Right.
You know what the rules that we gave you are.
Right.
And so when you go over there, I expect you to keep it cute and consistent. Okay. And that's how and I always tell him and I try to tell him, you are a leader, not a follower.
Right.
You are a leader, not a follower.
Which brings me to what you were mentioning. I heard you, before hopping into everyone else, I heard you mention that respect was something that you want to instill in your son. How are you going about instilling that respect?
It's kind of like I respect him and I expect him to reflect the respect that I give him, because I feel like part of respect is boundaries. And so
that's what I was just going to ask. What does respect look like to you?
It looks like boundaries.
Okay.
It looks like boundaries, and it looks like, you know, understanding. I hate the term "stay in a child's place."
But it's true.
Really, it's kind of understanding that this is for adults. He understands where it's like, you don't be in adult conversation.
Yeah.
When it's like you see adults all up in there, go play. Go do what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And when I'm always talking to him, I don't talk down at him.
Yeah.
You know, I try to talk to him on his level.
Yeah.
And I let him know, like, it's, and even when it comes to like, when people want to hug him, or, you know, I say, oh, say hello to so-and-so, he'll say hello. But if he be giving, and I'm like,
don't press,
don't.
right.
Like,
you're not going to force them.
Don't force them. I don't force
they're
nobody.
Good energy. Pick up on energy.
Oh, yes,
for sure.
I don't force my child to hug nobody.
Yeah.
I don't force my child to greet nobody.
Yeah.
I don't force nobody. Like, they be like, no. He said no.
Yeah.
It's no.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think he watches that because he understands that my parents got my back.
Yeah.
And that's part of, I think, reinforcing that respect piece
Yeah.
so that he understands that there's a support system behind you. But also you have to understand that like when you see adults, just because you may not like something, there is a way that you handle that.
Yeah,
And I think you just
definitely.
have to mirror what you want them to do.
Those are life skills.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. And that's
Yes.
what we're doing every day with our kids.
Oh, yeah.
We're teaching them life skills.
Yes.
And it's building, and I was going to piggyback off of that. It's also for me, my biggest thing is instilling that self-awareness. Like I do not want you to feel like you should not know where you are and put yourself first and your thoughts first. And then also when you do make a mistake, like we were talking about before, always being aware of what did you do in that situation to provoke that. So I always tell my girls like, okay, you talking about what your sister did. Y'all get into an argument. Your sister did this to you. Okay, okay, but what did you do to inflict that? How could you have changed that situation or reacted differently?
I love that.
So
It's the self-awareness of it.
Absolutely.
And then self-preservation as well. Like, don't always feel like you got to do for others so much that you forget about yourself.
Right.
Yes.
So I always say, hey, I always remind my daughter, hey, we're doing skincare today. Don't forget to do your skincare. Because I'm like, she's like, Mom, why you always tell me to do my skincare? Because it's something that you're doing for you. It's a small moment for you. You think I'm making you do it as a chore, but this is something that you're going to take with you
And
forever.
I do
Yeah,
that
it's
with
gonna
my
be
boys
routine.
now too.
Yeah.
And they want to, I'm talking about, they use up all my good products. I got to stop.
They love it. They love it now, child.
They're so expensive. I mean, I had to buy them their own little caddy, but like even the 9-year-old, he does his little exfoliating. And, you know, he'll ask me to give him his little face massage. Child, boo, these kids are a little bougie. Now, now I know you have just girls.
Yes.
All right. And this is a little, I'm going to just ask this question, just being honest. We are raising boys.
Yeah.
Okay. What is one of your biggest fears in raising boys in today's society?
You mean black boys?
Yeah. Let's be very clear.
Black
Our black
boys,
and brown babies, of course, I teach them. So I have like this embedded love for our kids. I really, really do. But what are you guys' fears when it come down to raising your sons? What are some things that you just,
My number one fear would be like when he start driving. I really already have nightmares about that. I'm like, is there any way we can have a camera that like stays in the car, like on the something like they have that? Yes, I need one.
I pull in and the Bobby like, you better back up off my child.
Yes, like I need one in the car that's recording everything that's going on. If a police pull him over or whatever, I'm like, like I needed to record, do it automatically, just come on and activate. Like as soon as, so that's my number one thing. The second thing is like sex.
Yeah.
I'm the boy mom.
Yeah.
And I'm
My
like,
15-year-old, I know he ready, but
He probably been in there
stop it.
choking that chicken, baby.
I'm not ready for my baby to be having sex.
Your sheets are still.
If you see Journey going up in the early in the morning, let me drop them sheets in the water.
I hate you.
Don't grab them socks.
Shut the front door.
And I could be wrong, y'all, but I truly
Why your lotion low?
believe. You triggering feet.
Exactly. Y'all know I got a teenager. Don't do that.
No, like legit, I literally told you one. He looked at me like I was insane in the membrane.
Right.
'Cause I told him, I was like, babe,
Insane in the membrane.
I was like, when Iman get older, I want like to build kind of like a door light on his like on the outside of his door.
Say what now?
So that way he can just turn it on and say,
When
I
he
see my
jacking off.
privacy.
Why you can't just to the side?
She want to hold light.
You're doing it.
We keep the light on for you.
It's the red light special tonight, Mom.
And I'm like, just turn the red light on. He was like,
That's disgusting.
Juwan is like, do you know the box you opening? Do you know?
But I'm just like, listen, I don't want to walk in on my son like,
Right. I don't even walk in
It's
my
a rite of
son room.
passage.
no,
It's
I don't want
not.
to walk in on my son doing that. And let's be real, girls do it too. I don't want to walk in on my daughter doing that.
I was just about to say, I feel like girls are more mature in that area. Like,
I walking on my daughter. Look at me. Like, I'm not trying to.
I mean, where do you get these idioms from.
You just tell them.
You listen to my grandma with these sayings.
When those things arrive, you just tell them, hey, there's a certain time of the night that you should do. I'm being serious though. There's a certain time that you should do that in your privacy because it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
We shouldn't treat it like it's something negative.
Like our parents made it seem like it was such a taboo thing.
No, and I don't think that. And also, I mean, I didn't know we was gonna start talking about sex.
Well, you segued,
but right. I didn't know we was gonna start talking about sex, but there is like, I truly believe that it's a natural experience.
It is.
Yeah. So I think our parents kind of shunned upon the fact of you should have it, so they try to scare us out of having it, which caused
and it made it feel
curiosity.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas now we have parents such as us, because this is our generation.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking to our kids about sex. For one, they're seeing it anyway.
Yeah.
So if you
everywhere come from me.
exactly. Because what they're receiving out there isn't the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do this.
And it's too early.
Yeah.
They're getting it way too early.
Yeah. And I feel like honestly, probably had our parents made us feel safe and not dirty around masturbation, we probably wouldn't have started having sex so early.
Yeah. Very
like,
true.
shit, if I could please myself, what I need you for?
Right. That part.
I mean,
They don't want to hear that kind of language.
that's what it is.
I know.
And it's really exploring your body, and I think it makes you, at least as a woman, it makes you feel more secure in yourself.
Right.
And in that way, you know that when you are ready to be in a relationship with a man, you're not accepting just anything.
Self-awareness.
Self-preservation.
Hello. And that's what I told her. Like, I just told her, I said, there's a time and place for you to do those things. Just make sure it's not in the daytime where your sister's up and your dad is up and people that can come in on you, because you don't want those things to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't make her feel like degraded, because she felt sad, she felt embarrassed. And I'm like, no, this is something natural. Your mother do it too. Like, look, it's not something that you come on now. We don't use toys. I'm married. We don't use toys. I'm just saying. We get the real thing around here.
Get it how you live.
I mean, hey, well, to each his own. But yeah, I just didn't want her to feel, you know, I want her to have that self-awareness, to preserve herself and know that it's not something dirty, because it's natural.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, just
child. I honestly don't know how I'm gonna, like, I know I'm getting ready to have this conversation with my son anyway, because it's a wrap. I can see his girlfriend go to the same
he's
school.
so handsome.
Girl, he is.
Journey is so handsome, honey.
He has my little chocolate drop.
Yes.
But, you know, I've walked in. He's at a point now where he's trying to bring his girlfriend over. So I let her come over once. She was respectful, you know, while at the house or whatever. But because they go to the same school and I teach at the school, it's like the other day I walked into the classroom and he was booed up with her in the back of the classroom. I'm like, where y'all teacher? And the teacher was nowhere to be found. I went to warm up food. I walk in, it's like couple sessions everywhere. And I'm like, oh, H to the
What's
end.
going on?
Exactly. And you know, he stays after school because he plays sports and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of at that point now where I'm just trying to figure out, like, I'm going to have that conversation with him, like, son, it's only natural. Because he's the kind of kid, he will tell me.
Yeah.
Like, because he'd be like, yeah, you know, when you leave, I'm just going to take her to your room. Like, he's talking about my classroom. Yeah. But he'll talk about me right now. I'm joking. Or am I? I'm just like, I'm going to knock you out. Or will I?
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I still want, like,
that relationship for them to be able to talk
I want the relationship
to.
for us to have, but I still want you to have that healthy fear where it's like, don't fuck with me like this.
Yeah, no.
Like, don't play with me.
But I think it's a natural thing for them to feel like already, because they already know how far they can go, because you've already established that limit.
Yeah.
Like you said, okay, we friends, and then you know not to go here.
Yeah.
So they know not to go too far.
So do you guys feel like it is, or how do you plan on not creating a double standard for your kids? Because with Janiyah, I wasn't going to say she couldn't have a boyfriend, because she could have.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, it wasn't no boys coming over and all that kind of stuff. Like, my son, he don't have a little girlfriend over. They stay up on the phone all night. I did. I was so wrong. She's the first kid, so I was still learning. That's my excuse. But how do you separate that double standard, especially when it comes down to sex with your kids? Because how you treat your girl about sex and how you treat your son about sex may be completely different, or is it?
So for me, because I have one of each, I think this is where me and my husband are really gonna fight.
Yeah, y'all
you know what
are.
I'm saying? We are, because in his mind, he done already said, like, she can't have sex until she get married to the man. That's the only thing. And I'm like, nigga, you tripping.
Okay.
Right.
Baby, girl,
She gotta
come
try
over
before
here.
she buys.
Listen. I'm gonna tell her like,
Sip
listen,
the milk
if
before you
you-
get the cow.
if you feel like you listen, to me, I feel like I want to not be a hoe, but just
Right.
explore
Yeah.
yourself because the first dick
Self-awareness.
that you get may not be the best dick that you get.
Okay.
And it's like, do you really want to live?
And it gets better.
Right. But if she don't have nothing to compare
She
it to,
wouldn't
it may
know.
be the
That was my
best.
first thought. She wouldn't know that.
Right. Imagine if it's dry and that's your whole perception of sex
What
for the
sex
rest of your
is,
life.
yeah.
And it's
Very
like,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel like I want to be that parent where it's like, no, I'm really open, honest,
Yes.
raw dog, especially when it comes to that type of conversation.
Yeah.
Because I don't want none of my children to get taken advantage of. I need them to understand, like, Iman right now, we've already had the conversation of your body part.
Yeah.
Don't nobody touch your body part. And
Right.
he'll tell you, and this is my penis. Yes. Don't
He sure does say
who
that.
touched your penis? Yes. Who touched your penis? Nobody.
No pet.
Y'all,
Mommy
wait,
and
let me
daddy
tell
when they
y'all
give me
this
a shower,
story.
but
Let me
no
tell y'all
pet
this
days.
story. Let me tell y'all this story real quick.
Lord.
So my mama, she didn't really have that conversation too much with me. Like she would talk about it, but we didn't really talk about sex, to be honest. Because I was expected to be that good child. So I think it was like, it kind of went over the head. Yeah, I had this neighbor. I ain't gonna say the neighbor name because I honestly don't remember, I don't think. But I used to go over to their house because they had a piano and all that kind of stuff. So I really kind of liked this boy. And I was super young. I know I was young because I remember just the conversation of what he said to his parents. But anyway, I guess I was trying to play house with him. And I might have touched him, maybe, or whatever. Girl, he snitched on me so fast, talking about how I touched his pee-pee. Yeah. I don't think I ever went back to the neighbor's house after
You
that.
couldn't.
I couldn't. Yeah, I definitely wasn't invited back
You was
over
bad.
whatsoever.
This girl
But
is
I know
fast.
that we were super young. I know I had to be like, for him to use the word like pee-pee, it had to be like super
But they
young.
said you fast. You know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
She said penis at her house.
Right.
But
So
no.
I already knew that, yeah.
But I also make
so
sure.
I'm glad that you teach him that.
Yeah, but I also
because
tell him
it was
you
an
don't touch
alert.
nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Your hands, your lips, your anything. And if anybody tell you it's a secret, you ain't got no secrets with mommy and daddy.
Exactly.
Period. And everybody tell you secret, run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. I hear that. All right. So I guess like what my next question for you guys would be, we're talking about like old school parenting versus, new school parenting. And one of the newest things that we hear, or a term that we're constantly hearing, is gentle parenting.
Rubbish.
And what gentle parenting looks like. Now, me growing up, my mama was a whoop ass mama. Yeah. Okay.
Same.
Now she ain't the same now because I don't know why the hell she's so soft on her grandkids.
They just different grandparents. They just different
Before we
grandparents.
in the gentle parenting, let's talk about that.
These
How
grandparents.
hell
They are
do
just
they be
different
so
grandparents.
soft on their
they
grandkids,
got
but
old.
damn near killed us.
Because they ain't got the age factor.
Is that
They,
what it
they
is?
calm them down.
It
and they
is.
say, you know what? I ain't got to beat them. That's y'all problem.
Right.
I'm going to send them home. Send them home.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And all the stuff they whooped us for, you used to do it, and you whooped my ass.
Exactly.
That is
too.
not a
So,
But my grandfather beat me. So I don't understand. You a grandparent, you can beat. Like,
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We had to go pick our own switch.
Hello,
yes,
we got
go
me.
pick it off the
Had
tree,
one
get
on
the
the
leaves
grandparent,
off
get
and
the leaves
everything.
off. It's on the hot water.
Yes.
The belt on the hot water tank.
Man, what?
They got
extension cord.
They got to stick it in, and it's tattered like this.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord.
So I can't-
a nine
You
tail.
not the last.
Yes.
That's a nine tail.
That's some slave mentality.
Baby.
I'm concerned.
Baby.
Kumbo.
First time I got hit with that thing, I called my daddy so fast, like, I don't know where you done sent me and what kind of people you done sent me with.
Yeah.
But baby, this abuse on a whole
Oh,
Another
right.
level.
I'm calling 911.
Okay.
Right. So
911.
going from spare the rod, spoil the child. You get what I'm saying? So where we are now is just like, you have to listen to them out because I just don't remember my mama listening to me out.
Shit you said.
The only time my mom, and we didn't get into it a lot like growing up, honestly, until I was in maybe like the 11th grade. That's when I had my rebellious streak because you almost grown, but you're not quite grown just yet. So that 11th grade year is always tough. Yeah. So if you're dealing with high schoolers, just know that 11th grade year is baby. Get ready. Because a lot happens during that year. But I vividly remember me and my mom getting into it, and she called me a bitch. Ooh. Yeah. So that cut me to my core. Yeah. Because my mom and I had not gotten into it to the point where she ever had to call me that word. Name. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I remember, and at this time I was a writer, so I wrote poetry. Mm-hmm. It took me 10 minutes to write this poem, and my mama was still, I'm pretty sure she got it somewhere because that's just how she is. My mama got things from when I was a baby, still. Okay?
Our parents are hoarders.
They really are. And the name of the poem was I Died Today. Or whatever. And it just talked about how when she called me out of my name, it cut me to my core. Ooh, and like, when I tell you, when I read that to her, I swear to y'all,
I'm shattered for her.
Yeah.
I can imagine reading a poem like that about
that says I died today. Yeah. And it just, and I wrote it and it was so well written that you would have thought that it took me a couple of days to write it, and I wrote it in 10 minutes.
Wow. Like, the fact that you remember it.
Yeah, I do. I do because that was the only like traumatic moment. Because my mom has always been like my super supporter, and she still is. I tell her all the time, "You are my closest advisor." Okay, like, baby, I call my mama for everything. One call, that's all. Ken Nugent type stuff. So to have that experience with her, where it kind of like shifted, my view of the person who was supposed to be my support system to the person that tore me down just for that moment. Yeah. But nonetheless, it was a significant moment for me. Yeah. Is really crazy. Have you guys experienced like any moments that it was just like, oh my gosh, like she did not have to do this? And it may not be to the extent that I just told you guys but any moment that with your mom or your dad where it was just like, you felt like their parenting in that moment was just wrong and they could have handled things differently.
Yeah. It was go ahead. For me, it was, because I was going to say this as well, was something I didn't like was watching my younger siblings. So my mama had me young. She had my brother, I think, like at 20.
Yeah, I know that's
and then, like, I basically helped my mama raise him. And then, she had my sister, which was a twin. That was the whole thing because it was during COVID. She lost one of them. And I was like, I'm tired of watching kids. So for me, it was just, it's a lot of things I wanted to do. I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play volleyball. It's a lot of stuff I wanted to do in school and I could not do because I had to go home. My mom worked 2 jobs or whatever. My dad was incarcerated. Right. So my brother dad was dead. Died. So she was handling things by herself and my grandma was no longer with us. So, cause my grandma helped raise me. And I was like, that was one of the things when I have a child, they're not going to be responsible for raising or watching their other siblings. Yeah. Cause I would get in trouble. Yeah. And like get whoopings for stuff that he did. Oh, he didn't take out the trash. You tell him. I'm not the mom.
Go get your man.
Yeah, so for me, you make the kids grow up quicker than they should, and they're taking on responsibilities that they shouldn't have to. And for me, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. At all. No, I can definitely agree to that. And I think it's kind of unfortunate because the older kids always get the rut of it all. Yeah. As new parents, we don't really know how to parent. The first kid is the experimental kid. Yeah. It's like, let me test this out. All right, whooping ass don't work. All right, let me test this. So they kind of get the rut of it all because we're still learning and we're evolving. And the unfortunate part, /fortunate, but unfortunate part of it is as we begin to have more kids and we begin to develop more as parents, we tend to treat the newest kid completely different because we learn through our eras with the first kid. And guess what? It still hurts the first kid because they wondering how you treat them this way, but they had to experience this.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of my mom though. Like with my younger sister, Deja, she's like 19 years old. And I'm like, look at, like my mom was able to buy her first car. I had to save up for mine, baby. I was like riding a bike to work in Auburn. Go work at Walmart. Yeah. My mom was able to buy her first car. Mom was able to help her with things. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I love that for you. Yeah. So I'm proud of my mom because she like had a lot of low moments, you know. So I'm proud of the mom she was able to be for Deja. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Did y'all want to chime in and share just like maybe a moment?
Well, my mom, my parents rather didn't even really whoop us. I remember one time my mama whooped me and it was like in first grade. I deserved it because she had to go to work early and I was one of the kids that did not like to get up early. Yeah. And so of course she wakes me up. I go to the bathroom. I lay on the floor and go to sleep. And then she opens the door and she's like, I know you ain't sleep. Right. I was naked at the time because I was acting like I was washing up. Baby, when I say she whooped me naked.
Them naked whooping. Yeah, those naked feel them today. And don't have a little dewy skin. Don't have a little dewy skin. You get you a little wet. Oh, baby.
That belt have a whole new lash too.
Well, I wouldn't know because I wasn't a kid that got whoopings.
You was born grown anyway. So
I was really legitimately a good kid. Like I don't even remember getting a whooping. Like seriously, because I
got whooped.
My brother was off the chain and my sister was off the chain, and then it was me that was in the middle, the calm, So, but I did get talked to. So speaking of being talked to, now we're gonna get on this gentle parenting thing so that we can wrap up this particular episode. But gentle parenting is frowned upon for some. For some, they really, really think that it is the best thing since sliced bread. Okay? So what are your takes on gentle parenting? What does it look like in your home? And is it frowned upon?
Well, I mean, I feel like the old school call all the parenting that the new school does is gentle parenting. Yeah. Let's be honest. Like, it's not a situation where we're not parenting like, like we should. It's just that they feel like, why you ain't whipping their ass? Like, my grandma had this saying, and it's crazy. She would say, I would give you a going to school ass whooping and an out of school ass whooping just so I can get you before you do what you was going to do. Right. Probably for something I didn't see you do. Right. Just to make sure you stay.
I'm for the old, the new.
The old, the new, what you get.
You beating me for what I haven't even done in the future in the past.
Because you did something I ain't seen, and I'm whooping your ass for it now. It was wild. It was wild. That's why I'm like, and so my mom jokes with me now. She was like, you know why your daughter act like that? Because she didn't give her back to school ass whipping. I was like,
not a traditional back to school ass whooping.
Like, just because she go back to school, we gonna whoop you to get you in line, get you out that summer mindset to get you into school. That's what she did. Back to school ass.
So one day I'm gonna come in. You going back to school? It's time to whoop that ass.
If you go back to school,
this is real,
okay, I whoop your ass on Sunday, so you get ready for Monday morning. But I say that to say, like, my parents really didn't look like that. And so, but my grandmother did, and she said stuff like that. So they like, you being gentle with them, you want to have a conversation. Right. You want to sit and talk with her, understand her feelings. Yeah. You got to talk her stuff out. That is too gentle. You should have whooped the ass. Right. Like, I was like, but y'all didn't do it. Yeah. I mean, y'all let my grandma do it. Right. But I was like, so everything I feel like now is, the new school is gentle parenting. No matter how much you try, but we trying to understand our children's feelings because they're exposed to so much. They are overstimulated with their iPads, their tablets, all of these things. They're overstimulated, getting information too quickly, quicker than their age. Yeah. So it's like you're trying to get in front of that and let them know they have a safe space at home. Learn from me so I can tell you correctly according to your age, not what the world gonna show you. Right. And so we're trying to get in front of that. I don't feel like it's not gentle. It's just us trying to be more proactive and more put more attention on what our children are doing. Right. And being more mindful is what it is.
Yeah. What about you, Quo?
For me, gentle parenting, I feel like I'm in the middle because I still whoop ass if I need to.
Yeah.
But it's like talking to him and asking him questions, and I give him chances. For us, it was like, and then like y'all know, I said my mom was working 2 jobs. She was at home a lot. So for me, it was a lot of instilling fear because you can't open that door. Yeah. Like I have to go get this money. Your ass better not open that door.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because you're going to have to come see me.
We was latchkey kids.
Yeah. And that's just like at school. Like I'm happy I didn't have to instill that in my son. He already was fighting, but But my mama was like, you can't let nobody like bully you.
Right.
The way I grew up, it wasn't that like, oh, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot. And even being a teacher is like when somebody hits somebody, it's like, oh, why you ain't come tell a teacher? And
hit their ass back.
You be conflicted. I'm for real. When you learn stuff, educational wise, and then with how you was raised, my mom was like, you're gonna have to see me.
Yeah.
If somebody hit you or do something to you, you're gonna have to come see me. So you better go handle it in the street. So for me, it's talking to him, and giving them chances. I really wanna like just kind of check his mind, like pick his mind and see like what is it that he understand. Because if he don't understand it, it's a moment for me to teach it to him.
Yeah,
and whooping him is not teaching him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it looked like for me. And once I know,
yeah. Then
now you're being on purpose.
Now we got a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kid y'all not. So when Journey, who's currently 15, when he was 9, we went to give him a whooping for whatever he did. This boy grabbed the belt and said, I don't know why you keep whooping me. It only hurts me. Mm-hmm. Like, he knew then that a whooping was not doing anything.
You can grow numb to it. I did at one point.
Like, and so that's when I knew that was actually the last time.
My underwear, like, all right.
Yeah, that was the last time that we stopped. That's why we whoop ass naked. Ain't nobody got time for y'all putting pillows and all that other kind of stuff in there. We ain't got time for that. But that was the last time that I actually gave him a whooping. Instead what we started doing was, well, first of all, I took his ass to therapy because I'm just like, okay, something ain't right because he ran away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like dusty feet and all. Like
because that wasn't effective. That wasn't working.
Yeah. But it concerned me enough where it was just like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm raising you the way I'm thinking I'm supposed to raise you because that's what I saw my mama do to my brothers, what I saw my mama do to such and such. Mm-hmm. And from that point, I do think that I went into this era of like trying to understand my kids. Yeah. Like allowing them to have a voice because that's something I felt like our parents didn't give us was a voice.
Yeah.
Now, the only issue, the caveat to it all is they're not going to be able to explain shit when they're pulled over to the police.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you having a voice and me teaching you to speak your mind and all that kind of stuff, that's not, especially up under the current presidency who is giving all power to the police. You get what I'm saying? Like I have that as a fear for my black and brown boys, and my kids in general, but I do find it beneficial that they can actually process their thoughts because the whole time they're being taught to think.
Yes.
From school. That's why they enjoy structure because they're being taught how to think. And I need to know how you think.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking is something that you just can't.
You can't teach that.
You can't really teach that. You just have to figure out and you can help to like shape their thinking. And that's what I find is the benefit to doing gentle parenting or somewhat gentle parenting. Because
having those conversations.
Having those conversations for sure is important. Giving them that opportunity to speak and share their mind, share their thoughts, and then correcting them where they're wrong. Because my son, he will try to get over. I know him. The man sent me, the 9-year-old, sent me a text the other day, asked me at 6:19 in the morning, Mom, can we talk? I said, yes, absolutely, son. So then he goes down and he tells me everything that just happened. This girl, she called me and we got into it and I had to get my get back. So I told her she was ugly and da-da-da-da. So he's giving me the whole rundown, but the caveat to it again, he ends the conversation by saying, I'm just letting you know in case you have to fight my case, I want you to be prepared.
Fight your case in what, son?
Swartz the Negro.
In court.
with his teacher because I always told him, I can't advocate for you if I don't know what's going on. So he wanted to make sure
he wanted to make sure you prepared as his advocate.
What was going on so that I can advocate for him.
So when the teacher
that's that gentle parenting bullshit. Okay? Because he just too damn slick now. And I think the kids are getting too damn slick.
You just honestly have to tailor your parenting to the type of child that you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because mine is emotional. And so it's a segue between play with me if you want to.
Okay.
And son, everything you ain't got to do all of that.
Yeah,
it's
facts.
not a crying situation like we be telling him.
Yeah.
So let's get that under control because you are a Black boy, and I need to make sure that he can manage his emotions in appropriate situations.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, y'all. So we're getting ready to wrap up this particular episode. But before we go, I just want to know one thing. Just give me some advice that you would give to these new school parents, or you can just give me some advice to the old school parents who may be hating right now. Okay, whichever one you choose, go ahead and do your last little wrap up.
Real quick, old school parents, be nice to the new school parents because you had your time. Let them have theirs and figure it out. You had to figure it out. The end.
Old school parents, conversation matters. It matters. That's how you see into your children, your grandchildren. Mine. New school parents, it's a balance, baby.
Yeah.
It's a balance. It's a balance and it's a give and take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Old school parents, therapy.
Okay, because
We
them
need
childhood
therapy
trauma
from y'all, and having therapy for them is going to be crucial, I think, in how they process and manage, going through life. And I think it's very important to have that some way to talk to. New school, like I said, tailor your parenting to the type of child that you have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So parenting isn't easy, guys. We're learning every single day. There isn't a right or wrong way. Well, it is kind of a wrong way to parent. But for the most part, I think every parent tries to do their absolute very best. So with that being said, continue doing what you feel is best for your child. Protect them from what you can protect them from, but also make sure that you're listening to them and that you're building a community with other parents, because we can all learn from each other's experience to help to make this generation a better generation. So without further ado, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope that it has been fruitful to you guys, that we were able to make you laugh and even bring in some moments that were very, very personal for us as well. And if you got kids getting ready to have sex, baby, have that conversation ASAP. All right.
ASAP,
we want you guys, exactly. But we want you guys to continue listening to our podcast. We still have another episode to go. So if you haven't listened to our previous episodes, we ask that you go back, catch up on a season, and then listen to our very last episode. I promise it's gonna bless you. And until next time, sis, we're signing out. Bye, sis.
Bye, sis.